What's up? My name is Amor, and I started creating content because I was inspired by this YouTuber named Kenny Beecham. And the way he formats his style and the way he presents his videos is kind of just a sit down, like a conversation, as if you're having with a friend. Like there's no fancy graphics, there's no, overlong clips that he shows. And so I want to kind of bring that into Valorant and VCT because I feel like VCT is so entertaining, but not only that, but there's so much narratives and so many hidden things that not a lot of the big YouTubers and the main broadcasts and the narratives that go on. Like an example of that is like how VCT isn't really picking on and platforming these younger stars like Sato and Nongshim. Even though Nongshim didn't make it, it's just like the whole idea of being able to promote that these 18, 19-year-olds and 20-year-olds, these younger kids are able to go into Premier, go into these academy teams, go into tier 2 and be able to excel and thrive in tier 1 to be able to make it onto the highest stage and win it all, because that's what Nongshim did. That's what they did as a Premier team. They went into tier 2, they dominated in tier 2, they end up winning, and they get promoted to tier 1, they end up losing a season, and then they end up going straight to kick off the next season and winning Master Santiago. And from there, you see that these kids, like these players, are able to thrive and be not fazed by the pressure just because it's a game that they enjoy and they've been grinding for so long, compared to where the previous, like the first iteration of VCT was just a lot of CS pros, like kind of like migrating to Valorant. It's a new thing, it's a new game. And so a lot of the tactics, a lot of I want to say a lot of the language and a lot of the underlying social interactions was based off of CS and their, cultural things that they would have during the game. Like an example of that is like when Optic and some of the FPX teams, like it's just like when they would go onto these stages, it's just like, oh, you're kind of used to it. You be a pro, like you're not really showing off your emotions. If anything, like you'll probably just be taunting the other opponent. But in other scenarios, like you're supposed to act like you've been there pretty much. As where Sato and some of the like younger players are able to be more expressive, and they're showing like the love for the game and also the love that they have with their team. Sato's the primary example that I want to give, just because he's always jumping around, joking around. Even in interviews, he's just like being an energy source for the game. And I think personally, Valorant isn't promoting it as much, isn't it putting it on like a spearhead as if, Aspas were to win international, just because, you would probably put them on like the homepage of Valorant and just like be on all of the socials. Whereas Sato has kind of done that, but I feel like he's kind of have to work for it unintentionally. Like I think I have to give him props, like in the sense of where like he's just naturally giving off of that, whereas a lot of people have to be PR trained. And so I think that's a core issue that needs to be worked out, just because like a lot of the games are based off of teams. Like a lot of people are Sen fans, a lot of people are people like Fnatic fans, like people that are hard rooted on a team. And sometimes on the flip side, there's people that are player fans. They'll follow a player to another team. And so within this driven narrative, like there's kind of like, all right, either you support the club and you root for the club, like Sentinels, and you kind of continue to follow the club no matter what. Even though if they make some sometimes bad decisions, you're gonna follow the club. And then there's the people that follow the Aspas, the Zekin, the Sato, because Sato previously was in tier 2 as well on M80 and some other Brazilian tier 2 teams, and was able to go into tier 1 with Lev and be able to be successful. And from there, it's pretty much like if you just tune into this playoffs, you would see, okay, Sato's a star. But outside of this playoffs, after Masters London, do you see anything else? Like, yes, they win, but like, where is the promotion? Where is the seizing of the opportunity? And that's the same thing with Nongshim. Like Nongshim, again, there's nothing about Premier. Like Premier is the main like source of like, okay, maybe I can go pro if go into Premiere with VCT, like there's a potential like within my 5 stack that I can go pro. That's the whole premise of Premiere. But personally, I haven't seen anything like it. And I consume Valorant a lot. Like I watch tier 2 NA, I watch pretty much all regions except for China. I watch EMEA, I watch Pacific, and I watch Americas. And there's nothing about Premiere, and there's nothing about Leviatan. Like obviously they just have one, but like I think the premier example applies to Nongshim. Whereas Nongshim, there's nothing, whereas like they're not the cover head of, you can grind Premiere and be able to make it onto the highest stage. And that's the whole point of the game. Like it's a competitive game. It's a shooter game. Like even if you're playing ranked with your friends, like you just want to win, and some people want to win at the highest level. Anybody that plays competitive and wants to grind and be able to make it to Radiant, it's just like the whole source of it is also the esport of it. Just because even if you make it to Radiant, like there's people that make it to Radiant but still have dreams of making it into pro, but the video game is where it all starts. So yeah, I just think there's like a big mishandling of it. I know that Valorant and VCT and their own teams have been improving. Like I think PaperX is a good example of like a fan favorite team in that it kind of has been transcending like just the esports scene. Like they've been into fashion and just like the whole like content creation in general, or people like them as people, or like kind of like idols in the sense of where, the sourcing VCT Pacific is sourced in Korea, and Korea has like idols or like figures that they look up to, and so there's a lot of like branding and like influence when it comes to people of status when it comes to Korea. And I don't think PaperX necessarily follows that, but I think they've come to that potential of like some people. I feel like there is a good amount of people that don't even play Valorant and just like watch VCT just because they like how charismatic Jing is, or they like how quirky and funny how Devi is. Like I think more of that, and showing like more of the players as we see as they go into like comms, as they go into like more interviews that are shown on broadcast, is like player personalities are so important, not only for like narrative but just like kind of relating. Like the whole concept of sports is just like being able to relate to someone, like kind of follow someone along their journey and be able to pick off and be like, oh, you know what? I kind of like what they said in this interview, or I like the way they embody themselves in this interview. Like some people can look at Ospas and say, hey, like I really like how stoic he is. Like he's, no matter what, he can have a ace, he can have a game winning clutch, and he's just like unfazed. And then there's people like Sato where it's just like, hey, like I show that energy like when I play, like I want to be able to do that and uplift my teammates and be able to be a really energetic and good person while, as I play this video game. And so I feel like there is a new age that is upcoming, and where Valorant and a lot of esports start to know how to handle these figures or like these players in a way that kind of uplifts them and makes them kind of greater than the sport. Like if you can pick somebody off, like someone like a Forsaken, like how Forsaken also does, everybody has their own TikTok and they can have their own personal brand, kind of like soccer. Like the greatest example of soccer is like there's people that follow Messi that know Messi but don't necessarily follow the sport. And so when it comes around the time, like let's say the World Cup, or hey, I don't really watch soccer, but hey, the World Cup is on. I'm gonna go watch Messi because I know about Messi. I know about Ronaldo. I know about Mbappe. Like, there's people that know of these people. They see clips online, and when the time comes, when the time is right, hey, I'm gonna follow the World Cup, and in the sense, I'm gonna follow VCT, and from there on, that's where people start to like enjoy it and follow it along from whatever they branch off into. In this case, an example for VCT, like. Personally, I just started playing Valorant in my journey. Like I was playing Valorant with my friends, and then I think it was around lock-in, and from there I was looking at clips, and from me looking at clips and seeing like, oh, this team came back, Fnatic came back against Loud, And from there, like, oh wow, this is like unheard of. Like a team came back. I want to look more into it. And you go down the rabbit hole and you start to follow along. And so then I go from lock-in and to going into like my first events, going to see like the studio in Americas, and then going to see, oh wait, there's a VCT International, there's champs in LA. I'm gonna go see that for the first time and be able to go and like follow along. And in my experience, like that's where it all changed. Like be able to see like a grand finals in LA and be able to see like the block party that they had, like the whole, they had food, they had people that they're literally there because they watch Valorant, and so you can literally talk to them about, hey, who do you think is gonna win, or who's your team? There's people wearing other people's jerseys, and there's a whole community there, and so you join the community, and then from there, like I watch champs, I see EG win against Paper X, and then from there, like seeing that winning moment and being like, wow, this sport, and the crowd going like wild, and the crowd saying USA, USA. In a time where Paper X are like kind of like in their start of their stardom, and like there's kind of parody, and like, oh, there's people that are supporting Paper X. There's people that love this team, but there's also people that love EG and the story and the players behind them, and be able to see like the grand finals where they do win, and the probably one of the greatest moments and one of the greatest underdog stories at the time. And for there to like hit that spark and say, wow, like this is really good. And so I'm gonna keep following it. And I feel like Valorant has to capture and create more of that for sort of the casual viewer. And again, there's multiple examples of like being able to promote a player, making him greater, make him sort of like a person to know of. And so when there's time, when there's an opportunity, like a champs in Shanghai or another masters, like people can tune in and start to follow along and create an even bigger community. So yeah, that's just my thoughts. I think, especially seeing like Leviatan and their run, I think it's a perfect opportunity for VCT and Valorant to capitalize it. And I think if it is not, then it's a really big bag to fumble.